Well, it's Uncommon Fossil, and I have been working on an Arcanine EX deck lately and want to show that to you. So let's take a look at the list. I'll give some comments on how I think we're at the state it's in, and then show some gameplay. So featuring Arcanine EX, it's a 4-3 line. It's a stage 1. It's got 280 HP, fairly tanky. It's got the Bright Flames attack, which is the big one, 250 damage for 3 fire energy, but you have to discard 2 fire energy from this Pokemon. Then it's got Raging Claws. It does 30 for 2 energy, does 30 damage plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So attack with Bright Flames, do 250, hopefully knock something out. Opponent hits into you, hopefully doesn't knock you out. Then you can come back with Raging Claws the second turn. That's kind of the ideal scenario for this card. It obviously isn't always going to work like that, but we want to kind of have that idea in mind. How to make this work, since we're discarding energies when we attack, and we like to be able to attack with it again for 250 as an option. The deck now plays a 2-2 Armarouge line. That's for the fire off abilities. Often as you would like during a turn, you may move a fire energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So it helps set up the following turn to get the damage, the energies on, so you can pull off the attack you want. The deck does play Magma Basin, as you expect, to accelerate energies into play, and Radiant Heatran pairs very nicely with that. It's a basic Radiant Pokemon, so you only play one in the deck, 160 HP. It's got Raging Blast attack. It does 70 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So as you can accelerate energy to Radiant Heatran with Magma Basin, move it up to the active with Armarouge, but then later on, when the time is right and you have the damage counters you need, load up the energy on Heatran and get a big knockout. It gives you the option to knock out a VMAX with one shot, which is important. Then in terms of an engine to make it work, I've been trying a number of different things. The best option I found so far is Bibarel with Industrious Incisors ability. Right, once during your turn, you may draw until you have 5 cards in hand. So a 2-2 line there. Am playing the Crown Zenith Bidoof because it has the Carefree Countenance. It is immune to damage from attacks by Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, as long as it's on the bench, so it can avoid being knocked out in certain situations. And then also play 2 Skwovet. So with the Nest Stash ability, once during your turn, you may shuffle your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck. If you put any cards on the bottom of your deck this way, draw a card. So a chance to get rid of your hand and draw one card. In a lot of ways, not always a good thing, but paired with Bibarel, then you can, you have whatever your hand is to start with. You play the cards you want. You shuffle that to the bottom of your deck with Skwovet, and then draw what you draw as your one card, and then you can draw 4 more cards with Bibarel. So it works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it, and Skwovet being a basic does help get things going. I'm playing 15 basic energy, but kind of moving around the count, try to get the right number, because obviously too many energies, the deck's inconsistent, but you are discarding a decent number of energies too, so you need to try to find the balance there. So in terms of trainers here, supporters, trying to keep things fairly straightforward with the deck, not trying to refine, not trying to trying to make it work in general. Functionality, flow, setting up, that's the focus here. I guess that's the way to phrase it here. So for Professor's Research, obviously really good to get set up. It does get energies in the discard. You may discard some Pokemon you want, so Klara is very useful. You put up to 2 Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, and you put up to 2 basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. Obviously, you want a few energies in the discard pile, but at some point you can get a whole lot of energy in the discard pile, so getting some to hand so you can accelerate is quite good. 2 Boss's Orders, obviously just a very nice card to have as an option. And then 2 Raihan, which if your Pokemon's knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you attach a basic energy from the discard pile to one of your Pokemon, then you search your deck for any one card and put it into hand. So another way to accelerate energy, because getting those 3 energies on to the Arcanine is just so key, and if you fail to do that, you're not doing much with the deck. As I said, for Magma Basin, to accelerate energy from the discard to a benched fire Pokemon, obviously pairs nicely with this deck, and with Armarouge works quite nicely. Plays 2 EXP share. if your active is knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack, then you move a basic energy from that Pokemon that was knocked out to the Pokemon this card's attached to. So a way to help accelerate, another way to keep energies in play, keep things flowing with that energy stream. For Nest Ball to help set up, getting Pokemon in play turn 1 is really important. I've kind of wondered if Battle VIP Pass could be worth it, but I haven't gone down that path yet. I think it will hurt consistency. One Choice Belt, I haven't found that this has been useful so far, but it's in theory it should be very useful because the Arcanine does 250, but obviously hitting 280 on a number of V stars is very important. So this will allow Arcanine EX to one-shot, right, your Giratina, your Arceus, and such. So very important there, I think, is a potential. For Ultra Ball, obviously there's a number of evolution Pokemon, so playing Ultra Ball to get it and obviously get some energies in the discard. And then 2 switch cards. Obviously, sometimes you need to switch up something for the next turn, and also if you're Magma Basin to the bench, you want to promote that card to the active. It gives you the option there. So that's the deck. I've been trying a number of different things. Let's jump in the rank ladder, see how it goes. So obviously, I just going through some of the things I've tried. I've put some NTVs in. It attacks for 2 instead of 3, which is a plus. It does draw 1 extra card with its ability, so that has some value. I just haven't. I'm not sure. I didn't feel like it was helping the deck enough. Wanted to kind of make the deck more consistency. Could do the Rapidash, which is a stage 1 that you discard a fire energy and then your Pokemon do 30 more damage that turn, which obviously that's instead of Choice Belt is a way to get to that 280 number. Very helpful there. I felt like giving up that bench. It's just a lot of Pokemon on the bench anyway. It's all evolution based for the most part, so you got a lot of Pokemon you need to get into play, and just it was just getting things too clunky. I play Radiant Heatran, which is good. You could play Radiant Charizard. It does 250, which again is a nice number, the same as Arcanine EX, but it forward energy, but usually that's only late in the game, right? Because you're starting off with needing 5 energy to start. All right, so a not a good turn for my opponent, so I like that. So what do I want to do here? I think I want to use the Ultra Ball. The question is what I want to get, though, right? That's my big question. Do I get a... Because then I'm really... Problem is, I'm really in top deck territory when I get rid of this. But I guess I'm in top deck mode anyway. So I'm going to get Bibarel. I mean, a Bidoof. I think that's the best play. I'd like to obviously get a good supporter next turn. I'm going to hold on to the Radiant Heatran. I don't need it in play now. Give my opponent at least the wondering, I could be an Arcanine EX for knockout next turn. Could be some other card of value, right? So rather than just showing I have nothing in my hand and this card doesn't really help me in the near future, give my opponent something to think about. The mental side is there too. So Radiant Charizard you could play, but that's not really useful till later in the game. And the problem with the deck is, does it set up? Like, I haven't set up that well. I got the basic Pokemon I want into play, but wow, only 1 Curlia, so that's not good for them either. Okay, so that is quite nice. Toss down the Radiant Heatran, discard Research. Wow, that is, I would say that is pretty optimal, right? So, evolve. My opponent may even concede at this. Let's see. So I want to accelerate to, I think, the Radiant Heatran. Obviously, getting the damage on so it can do big damage. I will give me the potential to knock out a Radiant Gardevoir also. I'll attach to the Growlithe on the bench, give him the EXP share, and since I have the pieces I want, I'm going to toss down the Skwovet now, because obviously Yeah, I'm going to toss down the Skwovet. Things like if I lose the Charcadet, that is a big blow to me also. I don't want to get rid of the hand with Skwovet because I have the research in hand, which I really want to use. So that was a nice start to the game and not a good start for my opponent, so I'm liking that. So anyway, Charizard, Radiant Charizard, it is useful. It's easier to set up late game than the Radiant Heatran, but twofold, it doesn't get to the big numbers. It can't one-shot a VMAX. And secondly, it's, you know, if you've made it to the late game, you probably have that means you've got your bench set up, so getting the energies on Radiant Heatran usually is not a problem, right? As you get some EXP share, the Armarouge and such, you get a Bibarel Skwovet. The deck is flowing pretty nicely, I would say. At this point, I have game on board. So we'll see what happens. So they're digging through things. So 15 energy. Yeah, I've had 14 energy. I think I don't know if I've ever been lower than that. I think I've been up to 16. So some of the trainers I've had. All right, so I can't one-shot them this turn. They can't one-shot me. Okay. So he will do 180, right? Which he can attack with this turn if he's got the energy. But he doesn't knock me out. And I assume he's going to attack with the Drifloon. We'll see. Yeah, so doing the minimal damage to the Gardevoir that's needed, right? They needed to get 2 energies on, so accelerate 1, attach 1 by hand. They'll accelerate 2 more, I imagine, to the Drifloon, so that will get them the 60 max they can get, so it will do 180 damage. So some trainers I've tried out. I've put trekking shoes in at times just to kind of tighten up the deck, right? Has some value there. All right, so that was my first Magma Basin, just taking a look. I'm going to use probably the revenge attack this turn. I would imagine I will bump their stadium, and I'll research. I don't think I will use the Ultra Ball, because I think I want to play the Magma Basin. Do I want to keep the other Magma Basin? I could Skwovet here and then follow that up also, right? I need 1 energy there. Now research is good. Don't. I'm trying to get too cute there. I think if I make that play, you know, to hold off on. So I want to get a damage counter on Radiant Heatran. Now I get 2, 1 more acceleration there, and I can. Let's think here. I think I'll sit on the Raihan. Could be useful next turn, so I will sit on these cards. Oh, actually, maybe I will get another. What do I want to get in play? I want to get. I guess the Growlithe is probably the better card here for me. I'm going to grab Arcanine EX, sorry. Evolves from Growlithe is what I was thinking. It was either that or get the Armarouge. They both have value. I can probably next turn get by. So I think I like having the Raihan in hand, I think. No. If I get boss next turn, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to do this to try to get boss in hand because I only have 1 in deck though, so I might be just getting too greedy. May punish me here. That's a nice card too, for sure. I'm just going to attack. I could have gotten the Armarouge into play. I'm just wondering if I want Switch though. in my hand. That's the reason I didn't, is I wasn't sure if I wanted to switch would have been the card one other card I would have had to have discarded. Right, I could get rid of a barrel. I have one in play. So they'll have to rare candy here to attack. You know, what if they haven't played any rare candy, so they may have it in hand. They might not. If they don't have rare candy, they're in a lot of trouble here. So this game, like I said, has started quite nicely for me. So any trainers I've considered: Avery, Trekking Shoes, Cynthia's Ambition, Judge, Shauna, Youngster. I think they're the same, essentially. Arvin, which lets me get the tool, right? Defiance Band is instead of Choice Belt. That gets me the 30 extra, and it's not restricted to a V Pokemon, but you have to be behind in prizes. So I'm feeling like I want to be able to take the extra 30 on a V-Star, even if I'm not behind in prizes. That's my thought there. Forest Sealstone. When I was playing the Entei, Forest Sealstone was in the deck to help things set up. Pokegear 3.0, which is a nice card to see the top 7 cards and select a supporter you find there. Back when I didn't play much of an engine, or when I was just using Greninja for the engine, something to try to help keep it a little more consistent. Capturing Aroma as a Pokemon search. You need a lot of basics and a lot of evolutions, so that was has value there also. Obviously, it's coin flip, and so if you need a particular card, it's harder. All right, just seeing what my opponent's doing. So they're not doing too much, so they're going to, we'll see what they do. So, and then trekking, and I already said Trekking Shoes. So those are the cards I've considered. I've tried most of those cards in different variations. Had a lot of different builds of this deck. So, they move 2 damage counters if that's what they're going to do. They will probably, but for 110, they do knock me out. So I think I will just. I'm going to attack with Arcanine EX. Let's see. Have I used Klara? No, I haven't. I haven't discarded Klara. Just checking on that. So I will get an Armarouge into play. They're going to knock out my active. I'll promote my other Arcanine EX. I can just attach. So I get to move an energy there over to it. I find the way it works fine. I find the way that they've decided to show the graphic to be a little odd, I guess I would say. All right, so what do I want to do here? I do have Raihan, which is a very nice card also. So I think I want to get a boss into hand for next turn. So I will. So that's very nice there. So he's doing big time damage. I will Raihan to the active. Gets me the knockout. And I will grab boss. It's not revealed, right? Because I'm searching for any card I want. And I should attach an energy. Yes, I should. Maybe I will. Yeah, I'll attach there. I'm just gonna sit on what I have here. I considered getting another Growlithe into play, right, and attaching to that instead of the Armarouge. But all right, so I'm 3 prizes. So boss does not get me game, but knocking out the Gardevoir is a major setback for them. And I now have the Heatran set up exactly the way I want it. We'll see. I might. We'll see what I do though. If they hit into me and don't knock me out, I have the follow-up knockout. Just because of the damage they put on me, I probably would just want to do that. Keep and just sit on the Radiant Heatran with boss for next turn as a win condition. If that's the case, I will discard a couple cards So what's that mana fee? Okay. So they're taking out the Radiant Heatran. Okay. Smart play there. I can get it back into play with Klara, but of course that does... I lose all the damage counters on it. So that's a negative for sure. So put that one energy back on there. So that was a very heads-up play by my opponent. I will put him down. All right, what do I want to do here? I think I've got rid of a Bibarel and a Skwovet, so I want to try to get the Radiant Heatran into play. So get rid of... So I think I want to get a Growlithe into play. Make sure. So I have 2 Klaras there. I'd like to see a Klara. That's my goal. Get Klara down, accelerate to it. So I need 30. So I can attack with just the first attack on this Pokemon. All right, so do I attack? I will... I'll attach active. I will now Skwovet and then Bibarel. I need Klara this turn, and then I'll need Boss down the road. So let's see what we get here. So draw 4 more. So the Skwovet Bibarel, you can see, got me what I needed. That is very nice. So Radiant Heatran. I'll grab an Arcanine because I want to get that into play also. Energy. Because hitting energies are useful also. Let me toss him down. Accelerate here. And then I'm going to thin. Now, I'm kind of fighting myself, but I'm going to... I can't play Nest Ball, that's right. I should have Nest Balled before Radiant Heatran. So he just needs 30, right? So just use the first attack. We'll see what happens here. Certainly not... I would say it's either person's game at the moment. Klara, getting those extra cards with Klara may have been a mistake. I'm not certain. Obviously, if I can knock out the Gardevoir EX, I have game. I only have 1 boss left, so I have to be careful when I use it. I need to be guaranteed the knockout. So it's 290. This with 4 does 280, so it comes up 10 short. So in this case, a Vitality Band would be the card I would need to get the knockout. But again, I don't think that's not generally the magic number I'm looking for. 10 usually is not the right number, so I don't think I'd add Vitality Band to the deck. But it's useful noting, just paying attention. Okay, Vitality Band would have been the play this turn. So they can't know the Pokemon to gust up, so they're discarding, pulling more cards in their hand. See what happens here. I am nicely set up here. So we'll see what my opponent does. I should be taking at least 1 prize next turn. Okay, are they going to hit into me? They can. They're not. They should not. They cannot knock me out though, as I understand things. So, all right, they hit 1 energy there. Can they get there? What do they have? They have 4 energy, so 4, 7 times 3. Ooh, 210. I think they're right now they're 10 short. So we'll see. All right. So, but that means if they can get 1 more energy in the discard pile, they can knock me out. So it's very close. They're close to be able to knock out my Arcanine. Getting the Gallade down. Did they play their supporter this turn? Yeah, they played Serena, I'm pretty sure. As I understand things correct. All right, so getting boss, but like I said, I don't think it's for this turn. Now the boss is important. It shouldn't win them the game though, because if they have to take a prize this turn to be able to boss for game. And they concede. So there we go. So the decks got set up pretty well. Once you get the Bibarel and the Skwovet going together, the deck does work. Let's jump in one more game. So that's good. Most of the testing, I will say, I was doing on the casual ladder, not ranked, just not wanting to, through the testing process, just didn't want to see my rank just fall. Would have fallen like, probably it would have fallen hundreds of points, would have quickly fallen down from where I am over 1,000, quickly fallen, I imagine below 800, approaching that 600 mark, depending, because a lot of test games just don't go well as you're trying out things. And you don't always want to, sometimes when a deck just isn't working and you're in kind of a testing mode, an early concession is something I will do. Because if a deck build doesn't set up consistently, there's no point in trying to fine-tune the deck for the late game. If a deck doesn't set up, it's no good. Right? A deck that's consistent consistent enough is very important. And Arcanine is okay. All right, so this is obviously not the card I want to start. I do have Ultra Ball. So I go first. So they're going to take prizes here. So this is not particularly good. So get rid of that guy. And that. This way I can accelerate the one energy. And attach an energy, I guess. Or do I need to... I might need to keep the Raihan. I might not want to use Magma Basin, right? So I want Growlithe. Get him onto the bench. I think I'm just going to attach and pass. I think that's my best play here. It's not great. I could have Magma Basined and accelerated energy to the Growlithe. And then I would have had the option even to switch into the active if I wanted. The downside there is if my opponent can knock me out. Now, they had to start Sableye, which isn't what they wanted to do, certainly. They want to start a Comfey. In the fact that they don't have a Comfey and active makes it a lot less likely that they are going to pull off the Cramorant turn 1. But obviously, Cramorant turn 1 is nothing crazy difficult. And then it will knock out whatever Pokemon I have active. And also, they play a number of Beach Court, I have to assume. So there's a decent chance that they're going to bump the Magma Basin also. So another reason to hold it back so that I keep it in play longer, get more value out of it. Kind of winning the stadium more is important. I play 4 stadiums. I don't think they're played more than 4 stadiums. So if I go second, or if they start the stadiums, I will win that eventually. But of course, it's a matter of having the right stadiums on the right turn. So now they get 2 more cards in a lost zone. So that's what they needed to do to give them a chance to Cramorant turn 1. We'll see. Obviously, I'm not loving my position here. So they've tossing away supporters, getting cards that they can use more immediately, digging for that Cramorant turn. Yep. Okay, so playing the Beach Court, but they only have 3. They can't attack. So roping me. See what happens here. Oh, they're getting 4. That's all right. Smart play by them. They're bumping their stadium. They're going to knock out the Growlithe. I've essentially lost the game. at this point, just because I didn't set up, right? I can't attack this turn at all. My opponent, even, they haven't done a ton, but they've got enough that they're just gonna just mow through things. Do I really even want to try and do anything here? And I'm just gonna concede on my opponent. I can't sit, they're just gonna keep picking through my guys with their Cramorant. And so good game to my opponent. Deck did not set up at all there. That was short, so I will jump in for one more game, see what the deck can do. See if it sets up. So one game where I set up pretty well, one game where I didn't. I think the deck is still less consistent than it should be, and I do feel like Arcanine EX is okay, but there's better options. A lot of times I feel like Arcanine EX is just worse than Raihan EX as a stage 1. It's a little more at work to get set up. With Raihan, yes, the base is 220 and it can't stream attacks, but because of the Regieleki, you can boost it up to 280 easier than you can the Arcanine EX. And if you kind of see that not being able to attack the next turn with the Miraidon as being similar to the fact that the Arcanine loses 2 energies, they kind of offset each other. All right, so a healing deck, right? Heals 20 from each Pokemon. See what they're playing. Heads, I think that's an evolution Pokemon. It is. Okay, so Lugia. So Lugia's it's going to be difficult. All right, that could Mesagoza is a card that certainly will help me also. Obviously, they're going to get to start evolving first. I need to set up this turn, so I have Magma Basin, I have Nest Ball, I have Research. It's a decent start to the game for sure. So all right, so what did they get in the discard here? Just that. Okay, so tossed down my second Charcadet. I guess I should have played Nest Ball and stuff first to see, but I can't imagine. All right, got a heads. I don't know why it uses my opponent's coin and not mine, but that's what it is. No. Get me a Growlithe, please. I can accelerate to him this turn. Get down a Bidoof. Setting things up. Skwovet is a lot less valuable when you don't have Bidoof, right? So Bibarel. So getting Bidoof down is very important. All right, so I want to. Do I want to get Radiant Heatran going? I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab it. No, I don't want to get Radiant Heatran going because he's prized. Okay. So I guess I will snag Skwovet, get my engine pieces set up. I could get Growlithe down to be safer. All right, I will do Growlithe, I guess. Concerned about that, though. So I will accelerate to a Growlithe. I will attach. Obviously, my one concern is that they knock out the Growlithe with 2 energies, right? So I'll get things spread around and just end turn. Hopefully they don't have boss. They knock out the Charcadet. I have one on the bench already, so that's okay. I might not be able to attack for the big attack next turn if I can't get the Armarouge. I do have Switch, though, which gives me an option there also. So it's not terrible. I have an energy in hand. I can accelerate 1 energy with Magma Basin. I have a Magma Basin in hand if they even bump my Stadium. I have Bibarel, which I like. It's a good hand. I set up reasonably well turn one, I think. As far as this deck goes, I mean, compared to the way some other decks set up, this is not as good. But that's the nature of this deck. Now, how many? So they have no Pokemon in the discard yet, but all right. I have boss, so they're just stalling here, I guess. Really surprised. Okay, well that I'm liking, right? So I have Switch, which I'm going to use. Let's think here. If I attach, so I need to switch for sure, right? If I switch into the Growlithe, I might. All right, I'll make this play here. I'll make this play. I'm going to attach to him, so I accelerate if he's knocked out. I research. Because I still have the Skwovet play and such. That's not what I wanted to see happen, though, at all. So I guess was not the hand I wanted. So I'll attach there. I have two. I don't need to attach a third because I have the EXP share. I'm going to use Growlithe's attack and accelerate to himself. I could have attached to Bibarel also. Maybe I should have. And just attack with just Stoke. Put 2 energies on. We'll see what happens here. Obviously not a great turn for me, but my opponent's not doing much. So I had a nice setup into that turn. Didn't do well off the research. Hit too much energy. All right, there we go. So 1, my opponent didn't set up. I wasn't in great shape either. Certainly my opponent could have been more patient because I don't know if I would have won or not. But there we go. Went 2 for 3 with 2 out of 3 with the deck. Certainly very solid results with it. So I'm, take a look at the deck list, give it a try. If you have any thoughts about what you think would make the deck better, let me know. And I'll keep an eye out for any deck lists I see that seem like they have some ideas and be looking to improve this down the road. But I think for now, I've got the deck to about the best place I can get at the moment. Take care.